sharing with you in this video how to use your voice to create what you want. And so the reason why I believe that this topic is very powerful is because the truth is that oftentimes I believe that we don't realize that using your voice is one of the most powerful tools that you can use in your life to oftentimes create what you actually want in your life. And so the reason why that we don't realize this is because we've never been taught a lot of the times. Nobody has ever taken the time out to simply just sort of explain to you how this all actually works. And so the first thing that I want to share with you in this video in terms of how to actually do this is really, I just want to ask you a question. And so that question is, have you ever thought just to ask for what you want in your life? Like, have you ever thought about that before? Just to ask for what you actually care about? Now, who would you be asking? Would you be asking yourself? Would you be asking a person? Would you be asking maybe even just God? Maybe the universe in of itself? Like, who would you actually be asking in order to really use your voice? And so really it can be a combination of all of these things. I believe is just learning how to ask. Learning how to ask. This isn't an art, really. It's an art form. It's an art form just to know how to ask for what you want. Because think about this. I want you to really think about this. How much time do you spend complaining about not having what you want? How much energy do you talk about to people not having what you want or complaining about what you don't like in your life? How much energy do you use, thinking about all the negative things that aren't going your way or all the things that you don't want to be happening in your life? And then really, what if you took all that energy? Because remember, what angers you in your life does actually control you. Like, that's just how it works. If you're upset about something, if you're angry about something, that's totally fine to have these emotions, and you can learn to come to acceptance with this. But just understand that, when you're sitting in a space of resentment and anger and upset about things that are not going your way, that's totally fine. But if you choose to stay there, if you choose to actually stay there, now what you're realizing, and what possibly you can realize, is that, you're emotionalizing what you do not prefer in your life. And then so the alternative that I'm offering in this video is simply to learn more how to use your voice and just ask for what you want. You might complain about not having a job, or not having the job that you want, or not having the thing that you want in your life. It's like, have you ever thought to just respectfully ask? Just respectfully ask, and you can do it more than once too. Just because you get a no one time doesn't mean that it might not be a yes a second time. It's not about infringing on somebody's free will when you do this. This is more about just learning how to ask, because nobody said you're not allowed to ask for what you want. Nobody said that you can't ask for it. But oftentimes we think that we have to manipulate, we have to control, we have to be disrespectful, we have to be dishonorable. Oh, it's like I have to just want what I want and then screw everybody else. It's like, why? Like, have you ever thought that being a powerful salesperson has nothing to do with manipulating people or being sort of quote unquote salesy? You don't have to be a salesy person to be a good salesperson. If you want to be a good salesperson, you have to be good at telling the truth as it is, simply just in the most blunt, simple way possible, and really communicate the truth to a person how they need to hear it in their life, specifically how they need to hear it. And then oftentimes, if you're just able to cut out all of the drama, all of the chaos, all of the resistance, all of the victimhood, all of the complaining, all of the suffering, and just ask for what you want, you'll find that you can speed up your creation process a lot faster, because now you're just taking all this negativity and you're saying no to it, and then you just ask for what you want. You can learn to speak for what you want. Speak for what you want in your life. Oftentimes we don't know how to do this. You have to learn to be confident enough to speak for what you want in your life. Just speak up for it. Be respectful, be honorable, be committed to, being an honorable person, but still nonetheless though, just simply speak up for what you want. And then so the second thing that I really want to share with you in this video in terms of how to use your voice to create what you actually want in your life is to understand that I really believe that we live in a society where we're conditioned to repress our voice. So we've just learned to just kind of stuff it all down and not talk about it. And so what I'm not saying in this video, to be clear here, is to complain about everything that you want. Use your voice and to complain and then express all of it out. That's totally fine. There's a time and space to express the negativity in your life, but then eventually I think that a different path that you can choose, that's a path that's available for you, is simply to make a choice to transmute the negativity into an alternative that you prefer. And then so this is what most people can't do, is they can't take the pain of the past, the pain and the resistance of the present moment, and then choose to go on a different path and then take sort of all that negativity and then turn it into something great. That's something that most people fail to do, is they live in a space of victimhood, they live in a space of resistance, and then they complain and then they point fingers out there. And then really what I want you to notice as well is that how oftentimes are you pointing fingers out there and then pointing fingers at people and then saying to them like why they're doing all the things that you don't want, but then where are you doing a thing that you don't actually like in your life? Where are you doing the same thing? So that's a whole separate topic that we can talk about in another video. But really the point that I'm trying to make here is that a powerful thing that you can realize is just to notice that where in your life are you not willing to speak up for what you want because you feel like you can't. You feel like you're scared, you feel like you're going to be disrespectful, or you feel like you're going to be too unfriendly, or you're going to trigger somebody, or maybe you feel like it's just better if I stuff it all in and I shouldn't ask, or maybe you just feel like you can't. You feel like you just don't have the worthiness just to simply ask, to even ask for what you want because you're such in a state of victimhood. Not saying that's you, but this can happen to us, right? We can feel that we're so unworthy that we're not even allowed to ask for what we want. And then we might have even an ego around asking for what we want. You got to realize that most people can't read your mind. You know what I mean? It's like you got to get to the point in your life where it's like, yeah, of course people can get to a point in their life where they're just so respectful and so amazing that they'll just want what you want and then be telepathic. Okay, that's great. But it's like, you know what? Maybe that's something that you can rely on 24/7. Why not just ask for what you want? Why not just be able to go and ask for what you want, whether it's in a job, whether it's in a friendship, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in whatever area of your life, whether it's in a business opportunity, whether it's in your work life, whatever the case is, right? Why complain? Why not just ask? Why not just ask? And then notice where you feel repressed to ask. Notice where you feel like you can't ask for whatever reason. I want you to notice this in your life and then replace that with just asking for what you want instead. Just ask for it. If you feel like it's time, if you feel like you're going to be respectful enough, if you feel like you know how to ask, then just do it. Just simply do it, because at that point, not asking, if you feel like not asking is going to disrespect your being, disrespect who you truly want to be in your life, then now you're not honoring yourself. So now what's happening in that situation is that you're dishonoring yourself to be friendly for somebody else. That's a huge problem right there, because now what's happening is that you are what you call a people pleaser, and people pleasing is, at the expense of yourself is not a good thing to do. If you're people pleasing and you're just serving at a place of abundance from yourself, then that's absolutely great. But if you're doing it from a place of repressing your own desire and repressing your own peace and repressing your own happiness and what you really wanted all along, then what you're doing is that you're really disrespecting your own being. You're disrespecting your own state and your own values of being the person that you actually want to be in your life. So notice where you feel like you're conditioned again to not speak up, not to be the person that you want to be. And then so the last thing that I want to share with you in this video is just simply to have an understanding and to notice in your life on a daily basis that really of course, essentially in the bigger picture, nothing has meaning. You know what I mean? It's like everything that happens just sort of happens, and then your reaction to it is what dictates the meaning, right? That's a great realization. But I also want you to realize that at the end of the day, you are in a physical matrix, you are in a physical reality, and there is a physical reality, and it does have energy, and it does have an essence behind it, and there is some meaning to the forms that happen in reality. And then so some forms are not preferable over others in your reality. So I think you have to start to realize like there's some things that you like and some things that you don't. But the point is that I want you to understand that words actually have meaning. So I want you to understand that they also have energy, and also want you to understand that they also have vibration. So words have meaning, energy, and vibration. So when you're saying negative things about yourself in terms of why you feel like things are not happening the way that you want, and then maybe it coming up once is fine, That can happen, you know what I mean? It's like you're going through your life and then maybe your mind slips for a moment and then you get a little bit upset about something and why this isn't happening the way that I want. And that's totally fine, you know what I mean? It's like we're all human. But it's like if you're going to choose to linger in that space, if you're going to choose to stay in that space and then sort of identify with a negative state of being, then that's where the problem is it's up to you now to fix that. Like you're creating the problem at that point. If you're choosing to be a negative person to have, say negative words and to say disgusting things about yourself and about other people, and you're not willing to sort of take accountability in that area in terms of how you're talking to yourself, how you're talking about your goals, how you're talking about yourself, about how you want to be in your life, how you talk about yourself in terms of your confidence and the way that you want to act in your life around all your goals and the way that you want to be in whatever area of your life that we're talking. It's like you have to start to realize that words actually have meaning. The thoughts that pop in your mind, yeah, they actually have meaning. Now, what you want to start to do is not attach so much meaning where you feel like something coming up for the first time is within your control. It might not be. You know what I mean? A negative emotion, you feeling triggered, you feeling like something coming up in your experience, that might not often be totally up to you. You know what I mean? It's like something you might feel a trigger. Where did that trigger even come from? Who knows? Who knows where it came from? Now you can dissect it, you can try to logically understand it, you can try to look at the story behind it, and then it's like your past and all of this, and it's like, you know what though, but at the end of the day, it's like what's happening truthfully is that you're in a present moment experience and you feel a dense and heavy emotion in your experience. That you can dissect it and attach to it and try to understand it at every single level, and that's great. But truthfully, that once you're done doing that, the way to actually let it go is just to see that the meaning that you're assigning in that moment is no longer the meaning that you want anymore, and you prefer to have a different meaning. That's all it is. So let me give you an example. Maybe that you were so upset for 20 years because 20 years ago something happened to you. You felt really hurt by it. You felt really upset by it. You always told everybody around you like, this was a terrible situation. I feel horrible about this and I don't like this situation and it's terrible and I want to dissect it. I want to understand it. I want to talk about it, and it's like, this is horrible. You might do some people might do this for a few days and then they're good. You know what I mean? And it's like they're good. Some people might do this for 20 years of their life of complaining and then being upset about something that happened to them and then this and then that. And then it's like eventually they realize like, you know what? It's like actually I'm going to change the meaning around that thing that happened to me 20 years ago, because you got to realize that when you're complaining about that thing, all of these things can happen in your life. But then at some point you have to just realize like, okay, you know what? The meaning that I'm assigning to this thing that happened to me 20 years ago, no longer do I want to have this meaning anymore. No longer do I want to create this interpretation around this, because you got to understand as well as that while you're having a negative meaning to something that happened to you 20 years ago, which is your choice to do that, you're creating the emotion of it in this present moment right now, which of course, if you take responsibility over the fact that it was your choice to attach that meaning to it, even though it happened 20 years ago, now you have to take accountability about the fact that the emotions that you're experiencing are because of you. It's not because of the situation anymore. You know what I mean? It's like it's not what happened to you 20 years anymore that's causing that emotional distress. It's up to you now. It's up to you. So this is a powerful way to start to remove negative emotions from your body. And then from there, now you have more safety and more security and more abundance and more freedom in the present moment. You feel to start to ask for what you want and then to change the meaning, and then words are a part of that. The way that you talk to yourself is a part of that. The questions that you ask yourself are a part of that. It's like when you start to realize that you can take responsibility over not what happens to you in your life, but then how you interpret it and how you respond to it. And then even if you are noticing within yourself that you're attaching negative meanings and interpretations to things, that's great. That's more self-awareness, where you're realizing that you're attaching to things negatively, and that's going to help you to remove it faster from your life. Because if you don't even realize that you're doing this, that's you just sort of living on autopilot in reactivity to the external world, and that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem, because now what you're doing is that you're literally, what you're doing is you're giving your essence and your soul out to the world. You're giving your essence and your soul out to the world, and that might seem like a cliche and sort of like funny thing to say, but it's like, no, it's actually true, because what's happening is that you're quite literally, you're getting hypnotized by things out there, by the problems of your life, maybe even something that you enjoy doing in your life, but you shouldn't really be hypnotized by it. You should be able to stay grounded in a space of being connected to who you really want to be, and then from that space, ask for what you want. ask for people to, like, be willing to do what you want, to be willing to want to do what you want. That's really how you align other people's intentions with your intention. And the way that you do this naturally is by stepping into, which I'm going to talk about more in a lot of my videos, is divine intention. Divine intention is powerful because when you step into divine intention, the words that you choose are going to be much more powerful. They're going to have a much higher energy level, in my personal opinion, because the words that you're choosing, even if you do choose negative words, you're going to feel the density behind those words and how it's not helping you get what you want. Because again, remember, what angers you does control you. If you're upset about something, if you're angry about something, it's controlling you in that moment. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're being manipulated and controlled by something that you don't want it to be. And the way to escape that is to, again, not be sort of sucked into the problem so much that now you are not even choosing the meaning that you want to the situation anymore. And it's almost like something is choosing it for you. That's a huge problem. You want to start to take a step away from the problem so that you're not sort of identified with the problem and attached to the problem. Take some space away from the problem. And now all the solutions that you need start to come to mind, and then the words that you choose, and then the meaning that you associate, and then the energy and the vibration behind those words, you're going to start to choose better ones that are more aligned with whatever it is that you actually want to create in your life. And you're going to be able to do it in a much more honorable and a much more respectful way, where you feel now that you're actually doing it in a way that's helping other people get what they want as well, and it's helping what you want to actually get in your life as well.